him, and we have Tricia, who's another in-house attorney.
We all know I'm like the redhead, spitfire redhead.
Yes. So it's no, it's been great. Love it.
Cool. And then we have Barry Davidson. She's also a new addition to the Baker Firm team. She was with Old Republic for how long have you been in title?
For 20-something years.
20-something years.
Since 2001.
Yes. So we're really excited to have her. She has,
After the 3 weeks.
yeah.
I moved in October, so about 6 months.
Yeah.
Well,
that's exciting.
Yeah. We're Baker Firm is growing like crazy, but super excited to have Barry. We've only talked like a few times. Like she's wonderful and she's fun and she's hip and cool. Love her. And then we have Erin. Come on, girl.
Here, we'll step out so y'all can step in.
There you go.
There's so many of us today.
And then we have Erin and Shayna. So Erin Gillian, she is the manager of our new Hudson Oaks office. So we do have a brick and mortar in Hudson Oaks now, as well as Weatherford. So we've got Parker County covered. Don't need anything out there. We have great teams. And then we have Shayna Yancey. She is another escrow officer for us out of the Hudson Oaks office as well. I asked them if they had are y'all having any issues with like contracts, the paragraph 12? Are y'all kind of feeling good about that?
We have a great broker
that's
like,
yeah. Perfect. Okay. Well, I just wanted to kind of open it up to y'all if y'all had any escrow specific questions about the Baker Firm. I mean, we don't have a ton to present today. Anything weird stuff that you're seeing?
Have a closing meeting on Friday next week.
Heck.
yeah.
Yes.
Pam Brown.
I believe so, yes.
So fun, so cute. She's amazing. She really is amazing.
I do have a question because
yeah.
I haven't ran across it, but I have heard somebody else say it. Are y'all requesting like listing agreements or buyer rep agreements if things are coming in and y'all are like unsure or anything?
No, I've been sent the form.
2402.
Yes, I'm not getting it every time, but every once in a while we're getting it. But I'm still having to ask quite a bit to decide like what their commission is. We can still keep up others. There's another form to show that, but no, I'm not getting.
I'm just curious because I heard somebody else say that a title company requested, and I'm like, oh. Okay.
Well, I guess it kind of depends though, if you need to see it, if the contract is not clear about how much the agent's getting paid, you may need to see a buyer rep to
Well,
do that.
or if we're getting different answers from.
Yeah.
Well, and you hate to think that would happen, but we're all humans, and interpretation and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So it could be a valid ask, if needed. I mean, truthfully.
Prove it.
I should do that the other day on an offer that I submitted, and they were like, "Oh, it's 2% in our listing agreement." I'm like, "Can you show that to me?" Because we came in low, and I'm like, "Can you show that to me?" But I didn't.
Well, that's what our biggest conversation is, just the ineptitude of the agents that we're seeing on the other side of all these transactions. We're seeing a lot of that.
Welcome to title. I think that is, I was just having a conversation with another client on my way here about our contract with canceling with the buyer. Never turned in their earnest option money. Despite we have our mobile deposit option, we have multiple offices, we have FedEx labels. We will come to you.
Everything is in cash.
Yes, everything's up cash. So speaking of that, I had I represent the seller, and the buyer was wiring in their earnest money, and they were sending it from Utah. There's a time change there. They sent it. I made her send me the receipt for the wire because title didn't receipt it until a day late because title didn't actually receive it until in the wire.
After.
So I said, you're going to have to send me the receipt on that. And this is a real gray area because I've never had this happen before. I'm not sure. But when that happens to our contract, the seller can terminate. Can they also lord it over their heads for the rest of the contract? I mean, is there any kind of lengthy? I'm looking for leverage.
That's a Patricia.
That is for Patricia. I know, but
We call it so bad.
and sometimes Chris is a little spicier than what Patricia is. So depending on where you're wanting to go, we can also ask Chris.
We can spin it how you want it spun.
Sally Maria, your Watson has the office. Yeah.
Oh, great. Who are you working with?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So but I decided not to raise a stink about it because obviously we want to keep the contract.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Yeah.
also don't want them coming at me with a bunch of stupid repairs.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Totally.
you know, if we can still walk away after the fact. I know that when there's that second option period pay or that second,
Yeah, the option that, and then, yeah, and then amendment where it says.
you can put another.
Yeah.
Additional-
additional
additional-
That's what we're
Yeah.
looking for. Yeah.
That one I've been in a situation where I was like putting that in way early in my career and she hung it over my head all the way to close.
I think it just depends on who you're working with. on
Yeah.
the other side.
Well, and
And I think
and
the contract
it's
verbiage is
choosing your battles, right?
Yeah.
Like, is it, like you said, is it worth like pushing on that?
I just
Or
want to
not,
twist
but
it a
also
little.
Yeah.
She knows who's in power.
She didn't like that, and I just want to twist it.
But, you know, I've seen years ago, I saw a realtor, the listing agent did not get that survey in T47 in on time, and they had a perfectly good survey.
Mhm.
Was brand new to the sellers when they purchased it. Nothing had changed. She made them.
Buy her a new one. Mhm.
I mean, yeah, and it's, I'm like, but it's also one of those things, that was close to 10 years ago that happened, and I've never forgotten.
Yeah.
I've never forgotten. And, you know, in between my years in Padua, I was a realtor for a little while, and I never forgot it. Guess what I had in on time?
Let me ask
You know,
It's interesting how, if, you know, paragraph 12, okay, I'm ready to do some educating on that, and thank goodness we have that education to be able
Y'all
to share
have
with
that flow
others.
chart?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. I figured.
We're putting it in MLS.
Perfect. Okay, great.
And I don't really know how, there's so many new agents out there that are, you know, brand new getting into this. This is not a good season for that, but okay, we're gonna jump in. That don't know simple things like what you're talking about. They do not know their contract. And it's really crazy. I mean, I had another contract on another listing where she was, you know, straight up front, offering to pay for her own title. Nobody's doing that right now.
No,
Like,
no. Okay, okay.
she had no idea how the survey paragraph worked.
Yeah.
No
You would
idea.
be shocked at how many agents that are very seasoned that still mess
Don't
up that
understand it.
survey paragraph. And I know they just revised that paragraph in one of the last updates, but just read it.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
told
you
everyone,
just
I'm
need
like,
to be
read it.
diligent about
Yeah.
really
Yes.
looking through what they're sending
Yes.
us because there's kind of some wonky stuff going on.
Yeah.
And, you know, those are the little triggers that cause me to say, well, what license number?
Are you 05, 08?
I mean, it's just, you can go back and find out how many closings they have.
I always look.
Yeah.
I know who I'm working with and what to expect.
There's little things that cue you to go,
No
okay.
offense to those people that
No.
have an 08 license.
No, so I'm doing, so,
Now, if I'm learning or if I'm, you know, teaching or if I'm just, you know,
Yeah.
filling out.
At the end of the day, you and the other agent
Mhm.
are on the same team.
Yeah.
And so is title. Like, we are all trying to get to the same place.
Right.
It's just, you know, how some people be.
let me
Like, that's
ask
just
you
how
a
it is.
question on that, because I had a slap me on the wrist kind of situation. I was buyer, a represented buyer.
Okay.
We submitted earnest and option there, with a wire. We got the receipted page. Slap on me, I didn't look at the receipted page. They never sent the option money. No one ever said anything. No one ever caught it until like 5 days before closing. And I'm scrambling. I'm like, wait, we never got the option money? Wait, what? I got the receipted page. So I looked back. They had put it on there and then they scratched it out.
Mm.
Like they were expected, I guess they had thought it was in there in the full amount.
Yeah.
And so I had to do an amendment saying we're doing 0 option money. It's the easiest way. But anyways, would y'all as the title company being like, hey, we got the earnest money, we didn't receive the option money.
I just
Yes.
want to do this, yes.
And I'm like,
Yeah,
was
I-
that anything? No,
I
it's not.
thought of it last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have the remote deposit and the one just yesterday, she had filled it out and I think total between earnest and option money was like $5,900.
Yeah.
They just committed 58.
Yeah.
So I think we had to, like, I emailed out to the agents and the buyer that, no, I did like follow up on it.
This was like 3 weeks later that I caught it. I was like, wait, we never got, wait, did you never receive? And she's like, no, I never received it. And I'm like,
Then why didn't you say something?
I think that's our
Yeah.
job as a title company to, like, we know we should be receiving $5,900.
Yeah.
Like, we all also understand how these contracts work, these legally binding
Yeah.
contracts.
Like, right in there and saying it's written.
yeah.
What about when the
But,
title
yeah, I
commitment
think that's
comes
part of our
out?
job.
Okay, you get the notification that the type commitment has been ordered and you get that first flow of information. And then you get the policy a little closer to closing. I always look at like the Schedule B in that to see if there's any liens or leases or anything like that going on.
Me too.
See?
So I'm gonna look at B and C.
B and C. Do
B
you
and C
guys
number
look at
10.
that
We can
for-
do a good title commitment class in here with
I think that would
Patricia,
be
and it's
really- I
really,
think that would be
she explains it so well.
I think that would be good.
Let's do it. I'll email you.
I'll email you this afternoon and I'll send it up. I got 4
Let's
days.
see who
open right now.
emails each other first.
Fall silver, you'll win.
She does a really good explanation of that, and I can also send a flyer that we have that it breaks down like what the sections of the title commitment are. So like A is what are we insuring?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
B, what is B?
All the exceptions.
All the
Right,
exceptions, easements.
Yeah.
C, I always call C like the roadmap to closing. So that's where the liens are gonna be. That's for
Mhm.
everything that we need to clear
Mhm.
to get you to the closing table. So if you have a Schedule C that's 10 pages long, you're gonna be like, man, probably not.
I'm not gonna read all that black
We're gonna
copy.
figure out what they are, and that's our job. Like,
Yeah.
our job as title is to clear those things and get them cleared.
Right.
But I think some people, I have the mentality of like, I want to know things before I talk about the things. And so y'all want to be able to answer questions for your client. Obviously, we can't answer everything.
Mhm.
Y'all don't necessarily need to know everything about the title commitment, but I do think it is so beneficial to be able to get a title commitment and be able to explain at least the process of what we do. No one knows what title is, even agents are like, what does title do? You know, I mean, so your clients don't know. what it
Well,
is.
and that whole process in there, okay, you get this initial email that says X, Y, and Z, and then you have the clause in the contract that's 3 days or 5 days or whatever you say, and then you get the final title policy
Commitment.
commitment.
Twenty
You
days.
get the policy after closing.
Correct, after closing. Okay, so in the process of that, I think training would be great. So
Totally.
when does that 3 days start ticking, and do I
As
have
soon
to?
as that,
Yeah.
yeah, as soon as that commitment goes out, then it starts. And so then that's where your client would have the option to,
Raise a red flag?
yes.
And would they even know what to do with it? And are you, as a firm, looking at that first, saying, oh, there's the red flag, what have we got going on here?
That is literally what we do.
Okay.
Like, we're like, oh. yeah,
You would notify
totally.
us, because I know I've worked with some that do, and then some that I never really hear from, and I don't know if they've looked at it or not.
Yeah, and I know too, like a lot of times, like if a buyer has an attorney, like attorney will go through and mark up a bunch of stuff that's standard language. They're not saying that they're marking it just to mark it up, but they're marking it up, and then we have to come back and say, actually, that's standard language that will stay, and then it's just, it's always in all of the title commitments and policies. But then there's others where they'll want like old oil leases terminated and stuff, and that's kind of a process. So
I know like First National, I just did one with them, and this is the first one I've seen in a while where they said, this is just for your review, nothing, you don't need to do anything with this, everything looks good to us, like, but not every title company does. They're like, here's the title commitment, here's text or review or whatever.
Yeah, and you're looking, I mean, I'm business development, you don't want me closing your files. People, not that. But I look at it and I have a general understanding that if B and C if C looks wonky, I'm like, ooh, I know that we're gonna have a lot of work on our end to get this cleared up. I work with a lot of investors, so you can imagine that C is crazy sometimes.
Mhm.
So, but I think the education on y'all's end of being like, okay, what are the red flags that I need to look at? So when I do receive this title commitment, I feel okay and confident in my title company to get these things cleared, but you
Right.
at least know that that's on there,
Right.
you know?
And
having a good
choice about where we end up for
Communication with the
title.
title
Yeah.
company
The
too.
normal things you're gonna see is, of course, the current mortgage lien. Sometimes we may see when there's just, if you have, your buyers are buying a house with solar panels, probably expect to see a UCC financing statement on there, on Schedule C.
Sometimes people have child support liens. Sometimes people have abstracts of judgment. But those are all things that like we're working on.
Right.
Like we've already looked at that health commitment and know exactly what's on it before we email it to you and your clients, right? Two, we're already working on to clear that. We cannot close and issue your client's clear title policy unless everything is clear. So.
Thank you guys so much for coming
Totally,
today.
yeah.
We're gonna be in touch this afternoon.
Yes, I'll get that. And if
Right,
you
you
have
have
any
any
I'll do that.
Okay, do that, and I'll
With
put it in
that,
Slack
and
today.
It's just an
Yeah,
idea.
it's nice to give you all the flyer.
Thank y'all all for coming. Sincerely appreciate you. Thanks for breakfast.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Let's hit announcements. Next week, we've got breakfast with us. So I'm buying breakfast next week. So, actually the brokerage is buying the breakfast next week. So I'm gonna get everybody one donut since we only have five people show up.
Yeah, right.
All right. Jimmy will be here next week doing wins, losses, mistakes, shout outs. That was supposed to be today, but I moved it to next week because I've got a lot of stuff we gotta cover today. The new agent training is out. It's for new agents, but it's also for older agents. I would love for some of you guys to go through these videos and just take a look. I actually went through I skimmed most of it. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. I didn't watch all 18 hours, but I did take about 6 hours to go through the material. And she's very good. She's very thorough about explaining it in layman's terms about what is there. I highly encourage you to sign on and start walking through all of that training because it'll explain so much of how we do this job. Because what you've learned so far as a new agent is how not to get sued. Now you got to know how to do the job. This is great training. The new business card templates are on Canva. I just went in there, take it in Canva, copy it to your own Canva, modify it how you want to, print it out on, I use Vistaprint. You guys can use whatever you want, but they're great. All of your IABS should be updated to the 2/10/2025 version. That needs to be on your socials and on Facebook and in your email signature above where your signature is. Estimated property taxes are going out. So two things here. Here's the flyer that you can send to all of your clients. I will attach this in Slack to the follow-up of this meeting today. The one on the right is the flyer that they get 25% of your actual tax savings, and the code is 6th Ave. This right here is a live webinar that they're doing this Friday at 11 a.m. Central. If you want to be on this thing, scan that QR code, and I'll put this.
Is that to share with clients too?
This
That
is for
webinar,
us.
or just agents?
This is for us.
Okay.
Property tax reduction webinar. But you can share this flyer, which I'll put in Slack this afternoon.
Okay.
Okay, so we still are having a problem with people bringing me a problem, but not bringing me a solution. So I want to reiterate, if you bring me a problem, I'm more than happy to hear your problem, but at least have thought about what you're going to do. What is your solution? Brian, is this okay if I do this? That's great. But it saves me all of that brain work and mental anguish of going, I don't know what the heck to do because I don't know all the ins and outs like you do. So please, if you're bringing a problem, bring us at least one possible solution. I've got a lot of information that we're going to hit today, so I'm going to hit through these first slides fairly quickly. National market update. Realtor.com is reporting 70% of potential sellers think it's a good time to sell. 81% expect to get their asking price or more. 75% think they'll sell in the average time or less. And 63% don't expect to make significant concessions. That's an interesting stat because if you're in this market right now, we've been talking about it in Slack. I think you had a great point of sellers hold to it, hold the line because yes, it's a little bit harder to sell a house right now, but buyers shouldn't be getting away with murder either.
That's exactly right. And I've gotten several contracts up.
Mhm.
Like one of them was, she was offering, we went from 480 to 460, finally got, an offer. And she offered 440 and asked for 20,000 in concessions. I'm like, yeah.
I will say though,
But she came up to 460 and asked for 10.
yeah, for me.
Well, I mean, that's a win.
Yeah, you want the house.
Right.
I will say, I'm representing a buyer right now, and we've submitted 3 offers now and cannot make it work because sellers are unwilling to negotiate.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we are coming in lower, they're an investor, so we are coming in lower, but they're very well qualified and they're willing to wiggle a little bit, but they want to see.
How much do you? What do you do?
And on 2 of them, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, we're there, like, why can't we make this work? And it's because sellers are still in that unrealistic, like, I'm not budging. And I'm like, there's like 15 houses in that neighborhood for sale.
Gotta move something.
And that's how we present it too. We probably need to be talking about that from a listing standpoint and utilizing some of our gains as leverage in our listing appointments. So when we've had successful outcomes, we need to track those things and be able to sit down in a listing appointment, say, this is my track record. This is what the industry is doing. This is what the details are in the MLS. I'm batting 1,000 compared to them. And we can strengthen our position as a brokerage too, for the new agents that don't have a track record, they can use ours. So those kinds of things are really important. I did a lot of that whenever I was brand new. I just leaned on my brokerage and their results.
Housing starts contracted in March, the most of the year, as builders focused on completing their projects. Monthly annual pace of home completions was at a faster rate than all the 2 months from 2020 to 2023. Looking to the future, builder permits in March increased over February, just a smidge below where they were last year. In addition, builder confidence edged up a point in April, and 61% of builders are using sale incentives. I'm seeing a lot of that from the builders. Last week, Powell Plummet speaks Wednesday. Fed Chair Jerome Powell said tariffs could cause higher inflation and slower growth. Stocks crumbled, and even after crawling back a bit on Thursday, ended down to the week. Traders, most of the media, ignored Powell's comments that the U.S. economy is still in a solid position. Longer-term inflation expectations, for the most part, appear to remain well anchored. Folks also ignored March increases in manufacturing and mining output and a 1.4% bump in retail sales. Some put that to buyers beating tariff price hikes as they overlooked the robust 1.8 sales gain at restaurants and bars. National 30-year fixed more ticked up a bit. I'm going to show you what that did in just a second because it's up again since this came out. New and existing home sales jobless claims are coming up this week. Analysts expect an increase in new home sales in March over February as builders add to the pipeline. Sellers are also listing more homes, yet existing home sales numbers are still forecast to be off slightly for March. Weekly initial unemployment claims, an accepted measure of the health of the labor market, are predicted to remain well below levels that indicate a recession is in the offing. Here's our Federal Reserve Watch, what they're expecting for June. It's dropped another 10 points. If you look over here on the right-hand side, we're expecting to stay, this has dropped from 69 down from 78 last week. Just kind of watching those numbers of what they're expecting. I think it's going to hold. I think we're going to hold is what's going to happen. Here's the rate watch. Last week, we were at 6.88. 5 weeks ago, we were at 6.81. Looking at 30-year fixed only right now. This week, we're at 6.98. So it's ticked back up.
Is it FHA?
The FHA is right here. The 30-year FHA is at 6.5, 6.4, and that's up a tenth from last week. So, I mean, we're fluctuating a tenth of a point. It's really not that big of a difference. Remember, if you're talking to your clients, start thinking in terms of for every $1,000 you borrow is $7 a month in payment. $1,000 is $7 to $8 in payment based on these rates. So if you're borrowing an extra $10,000 to buy a house, that's $70 to $80 a month is what you're spending. Make sense?
Yeah.
That's just the general, keep that in your brain so that you can talk quickly about, well, I did it yesterday. My people were, I want to spend 300. They're asking 316. They said that they take 310. Where am I going to get $10,000? $10,000 is $70 a month. You got $70 a month? Yeah, let me put it in terms like that.
So we'll take one.
Give them 310.
Yeah.
Right.
So, this is a tip of the week. If the task feels overwhelming, remember that you don't have to do it all now. And making progress on it for just 5 minutes. Often, that will give you the momentum to keep going. If it doesn't, you still have gotten closer to completing the task. Did you know the National Association of Realtors found that 81% of agents say staging improves buyer visualization. 89% noted it has a positive impact on the sale, and that staged homes generate more interest, sell faster, and tend to get stronger offers. That varies from market to market. Because if you're going to sell to investors, they don't care if it's furnished or not. They're not looking at it. Did you also know that we have our own staging service here at 6th Ave? then you can hire Kayla to come and help you stage. And she gives you a discount. So all of that is on the backside, go in their agent stuff, and it's got the staging service. If you can immediately talk to Kayla to get that done. Practical and tactical. Who knows what that is?
That's an open house sign.
That is an open house sign. It's nice.
What am I thinking? Oh, yeah.
Practical, tactical.
Yeah.
Now we're going to talk about, what is that?
Oh, no.
Okay, we have a lot of those up there. I don't understand why open houses are so taboo. They should be in every realtor's tool belt. So here's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to give you some very quick facts about the open houses. These are all stats from NAR. According to NAR, 50% of buyers reported attending open houses during their home search. 50% of home buyers attended an open house. If you look right here, here's the age of the home buyers that are going out there. The only thing that's more, that people do more than open houses is mobile or tablet search device on their devices. So open houses are huge. They're even bigger than an online video site or a yard sign or the home builder or print or billboards or television. Open house is number 2, just so y'all know that.
I think that honestly, the taboo, I guess, on it, and I mean, I know you're showing the numbers and it's proofs in the pudding a lot of times, but like we did so many open houses last year and nobody came. And I think that's just like the frustration of, we do it to appease our sellers. We do it for the initial feedback on the listing. But when you're sitting in open houses almost every weekend on different listings, it's like.
We're going to talk about that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's a strategy in that.
Yeah.
First step taken during the home buying process, this is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 biggest thing people do. So a lot of times people are going out and looking at open houses. Now, honestly, let's all be real. Online is where it's at.
Yeah.
But if you're having an open house, and I'm going to tell you a couple of tricks here in just a second. So this is also here. 50% of buyers attend open houses. Buyers view an average of 7 properties before purchasing. Some old Zillow data suggests buyers attend 2.6 open houses during their search. Nationwide, not necessarily DFW centric, nationwide, okay? So if we assume buyers attend open houses for some of the homes they ultimately purchase, we can estimate the role open houses play in sales. Using the 2.6 open houses attended per buyer, it's reasonable to conclude that approximately 37% of buyers attend an open house for the home they purchase. This is an NAR number. I did not run these stats.
Yeah.
Just saying that they're formulating out there based on the algorithm that they're using. Here's the thing though. The NAR settlement changed things, and we've been talking about this in Slack. This shift from NAR could lead to an increase in buyers attending open houses because they don't want to sign even a one-day buyer rep agreement. So having an open house is a good idea for this reason. A rise in the average number of open houses attended per buyer and a potential increase in the percentage of homes sold where an open house played a role. I highly recommend that if you're in a neighborhood that has 5 houses for sale in the neighborhood, give it the other agents and say, hey, let's do an open house day. Let's all pool our resources and say, open house, everybody come this way, put a bunch of signs out there. Let's drive traffic into
Do a
this.
food truck.
There you go.
We
No, why not?
that, yeah.
Here is the tips that you're missing out on working for active buyers. Number 1, choose the right day and time. Weekends are generally best, but late afternoon on weekdays could land you buyers. So a 4 to 6 o'clock or 4 to 7 o'clock or 5 to 7 o'clock, people getting off work, directional signs, open house today. Promote it. Put an open house sign in the yard several days in advance with the date and the time that it's going to be open. Put it in MLS 2 days prior, schedule and shoot a reel for socials and put it out there that, hey, I'm going to be holding this house open. Get some of us to share that information so that we can distribute that out. Day of, distribute 5 to 7 directional signs to point the public to you. Please, they're right up the ladder here in the main office. Grab some, take 6 with you and go put them out for your open house. Please bring them back when you're done, unless you're going to do another open house quickly after that. Going to arrive 30 minutes early to turn on the lights, open the blinds, prepare the property. Use a sign-in sheet or the ReChat open house site we've got built into ReChat. It's a great little thing to get people directly into your ReChat system. Include info packets, feature sheet, survey, seller's disclosure, etc. Clarissa Bush has raised a hand. Please, Clarissa, go ahead. You're still muted, Clarissa. Unmute. Hit your space bar.
Here I come. I'm here.
There you are.
Old lady technology issues. I have that last one in terms of sign-in sheet and survey. So probably about 2 years ago, I changed over to survey style only instead of having a sign-in sheet. And I have probably 100% success rate of getting people to sign in by, instead of having the sign-in sheet, I just have a survey. And at the bottom of the survey, it asks for their name and telephone number and email, because it just, the way I approach it is I would just love to get your feedback about the house and its features so that I can provide it to the seller. And people end up filling it out and putting their name and information at the bottom. So if anybody wants a copy of it, I'm happy to share it. I have it in my Canva, and then, just try that.
Thank you very much.
I will say, because again, the frustration last year was that nobody was showing up, even though we did all of this. But one thing, I was talking to Jimmy about it last year, and he's like, go door knock.
Mhm.
And I'm like, well, that's real out of my comfort zone.
Go-
He said, if you'll do it like the day before, or even like an hour before, just knock and give them every neighbor a flyer saying, hey, do you know somebody, or send somebody my way, or whatever. So we haven't done that yet, just because we haven't done an open house in a couple months, but
Well, I'm seeing, the reason that this came up is because I'm seeing on the put listings and open house channel on Slack, I'm seeing people asking for open houses. And we've got a lot of people that are, I think, might have some availability to go do some open houses. You don't have to do it on Saturday or Sunday. You can do it on a weekday. You can do a broker open house on a weekday during the day and invite people from the brokerage, from other brokerages, to come see a property. Lots of options there. It's only limited by your imagination.
And it's free. You don't have to buy leads to
And
get
you can
leads.
get a buyer.
I built my whole business doing
Can I
that.
say a couple? And
Come on camera here.
okay, so I don't know if this is kosher or not, but something I used to do a lot.
Okay.
It's, and you might tell me, don't do this. When I would have a new listing, I would pitch the seller, and sometimes with my house, but I would say, hey, let's not allow showings the first week and only do an open house on Saturday and Sunday. So it pushes everyone to show up at the open house, which creates a lot of FOMO. Like, so one, like, guarantees your open house is going to have people there.
Yeah.
And I always felt like if you have an open house and it's like a lot of people, then people mentally are like, this house is more valuable. And so all the time I would we would block off, say no showings until the open house on Saturday. I don't know if that's legal or not.
It's totally legal.
It's absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, you can totally do that. And I've
Great
done that,
idea.
actually. I have done that,
Yeah.
especially when it was multiple offers. I think we're all standing in a position now of just come whenever you can.
yes.
I don't want to
You
block
can
it.
do
You know what I
But
mean?
it's something
And
about
so,
making them wait.
yeah,
and then,
there is that.
I also made these. I went and found these. This is from way back in the day. But it's a little flyer, and we could probably make it again. But it says, if you ever wanted to see your neighbor's house, now's your chance. Open house. And I would print them off, and I would go 10 houses down, 10 houses down, 10 houses across the street. And
That's
people thought it
good.
was kind of funny.
Put that out on the open house channel. That would be so great to have. I think those are great tools. I mean, I just want to encourage y'all because that's how I built my business. And there is a strategy to choosing the right. I mean, you don't want the house that's way out in the country. You want the house that's, 2 or 3 turns off of a busy street. That's, where you can sign it really well and get people to it. The better one looks online, probably the more it's going to attract. And utilize your brokerage's listings to build your own business. I mean, I was on a team. I didn't even use my brokerage's listings. I just used my team leader's listings. And she would have usually 10 to 15 listings going on all the time. She's just a big rainmaker. But I would just pick the best one each weekend. And I made it a point to hold at least 2 open houses a month. And I was very on purpose about whoever doesn't have an agent, I'm your agent, and just making that turn happen. And so, and there's strategy behind that as well. on how you do it. So
I just want to encourage, especially of all of the younger agents that are newer to the business. I mean, there is not a better time than the spring to be out doing open houses.
that's exactly right.
There is not a better time.
And July is another time to come and do open houses,
Mhm.
like July,
Yeah,
right in there at the
March.
tail end, because
you can-
that's gonna be fall business.
And you can also ask other brokerage agents if you can do, like, I used to have people reach out and go, hey, can I do an open house?
From other brokerages, it's a little different now with NAR settlement. We have got to get some paperwork that I'm working on to be able to allow other people to show our houses,
Yeah.
or for us to show somebody
But I
else's.
mean, if you need this, like,
Mhm.
get scrappy.
Yeah.
Get scrappy, absolutely.
I allowed it. You're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
show, I'm just like, I'm gonna ask for forgiveness.
Yeah,
And I just hate to do that. I had to say that out loud to everybody, but it was before I knew that we couldn't.
Mhm.
Honestly, it was early in the season. And they would have 10 or 12.
Yeah, this should be just a one-page form that we're relieving some liability from us
Mhm.
for the seller to sign and say, yes, I understand that you've got ABC brokerage holding my house open, even though I'm listed with you. I'm gonna hold them harmless too.
Mhm.
That's the point. So
it's
that's
also on
working on
with-
that.
I
with-
really hate to see us go outside of our brokerage.
Yeah.
zone. I really hate to see that because we have enough new agents that
Folks here.
are probably pretty
Yeah.
hungry
Mhm.
that can make that work.
Absolutely.
And don't hold your listing open every weekend. Choose a good weekend. Maybe I do like one a month, maybe every other.
Yeah.
But never every weekend because I don't want to look like, oh, we're always open, come anytime.
Yeah, right,
You know,
yeah.
I want it to.
I think it's a great idea. And I love Jamie's idea about, holding it back for a while. I mean, these last tips, we got about 15 minutes here. So top 10 agent tips. So this is some of the things that we actually do in 100 Days to Greatness and that you're going to see on the docent training. But these are the overall big 10,000 foot things of what you need to be doing as an agent. Even if you're an experienced agent, I think we also need to be reminded of these things. We want to build a deep knowledge base. Analyze recent sales in your area, know your market. Understand what types of properties are in demand, know your markets. Learn about local amenities that attract buyers, know your market. That's all this basically is. Number 2, create a real estate business plan. Visions and goals. Jamie does that. We do that once in a while. Do the vision guide, vision journal, excuse me. And I think it's great to know where I want to go, what I want to do. Know your target audience. Lead generation strategies. Outline how you attract and convert leads. Open houses. Those are great things to do. Setting a financial plan, knowing what you're going to be paying for and knowing what your budget is for your business. Leveraging technology. We try to provide you a really nice, robust display or of technology here with Slack and the Google Suite and ReachApp, Real Scout and DocuSign. We think that we've got a really nice, and now we've got the docent technologies that we're actually using for training. So I think we've got a really nice technology package here. The CRM software, the ReachApp, that's basically what that does. This is from Buffini, so they like the filmmaker, of course. Their CRM, which I use, I love it. That's wonderful. But ReachApp works fantastic too. Using your social media. Don't forget that we've got the social media channel on Slack, and that Jamie is monitoring that channel for your reels and for everything that you want shared.
Yeah, everyone that said stuff last week. Really said.
Okay. Virtual tours like Google Meet and Zoom. Those are very, very good things. Investing in these tools will save you time and help scale your business.
I would like to ask real quick, I hate to interrupt you, but if you're looking for shareability through 6th Avenue, is it okay, like I do some agent talking and then zoom in through the house, or do you just want the house?
No, you're talking great too.
Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if there was like, because we talked about it in our group and like sharing, like me sharing Holly's or Holly's sharing Danielle's or something like that. We prefer to only to not invite collaborators if you're, I don't know what it.
So Danielle always invites I think she always invites collaborators, so I could share her stuff, because sometimes the way people share stuff on their stories or on their whatever, I can't share. Because I'm always getting to share anybody's everything. I mean, I've shared stuff on my stories and post about whatever, but it's the way people share it. But I think Danielle always invites I get a notification when she does because I can share it to my story then.
Right. We might do a little something that teaches us how to really do
Share it
good
properly
practice.
so other
on
people can
that.
share it too.
So we can collaborate as a
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
like, And really push it out further.
Yeah.
And I always like stuff with faces.
Yeah.
I do. I think more people look at it. If you look at my views, whenever I get my goofy self up there and you know, it's like everybody looks at it.
Yeah.
And then if I just do property, they're like,
Well, they like the silly, funny, lighthearted. They don't like the serious. And that we get the most engagement out of the silliest of things in our life. Okay, but I just gave you some really great information over here and no one engaged.
Yeah, no,
Right.
nobody's on. That's it.
Yeah.
So, but focus on building relationships. That's the next thing. Thank you for taking us down to that. Stay connected, follow up regularly with past clients and leads, provide value. That's a big thing with me is if you gotta have your 30-second elevator speech, you gotta be able to give them something before you can ask them something.
Mhm.
Can't ask them for a referral or for their business until you give them something of value. So have that in your mind before you start that conversation. Be active in your community. Holly and Taj are really, really good at that. I'm just going to call you out and say, you guys are great at being active in your community. Those are big things. Hone your communication skills. We talked about this about a month ago when we went through the negotiations. Listen actively, take notes during meetings, use clear language, and be responsive. Mastering the art of effective communication will set you apart in a crowded field, especially a crowded field of absolute people that shouldn't be doing this job. Develop your personal brand, a unique selling proposition. What makes you different from other agents? I think Jana's really good about doing that. Setting herself apart. This is how I do it. This is why I do it. And this is how we're going to accomplish your goals. Great stuff. Create a consistent look and feel to your marketing and then share your story. People connect with authenticity. Share why you became a real estate agent. Jamie and I are about to go, and I'm kind of nervous about standing in front of Jamie with a camera while he asks me questions, but we're starting a new thing where I'm going to do this in a few minutes and we'll see how it goes. But that's sharing my story is important. I mean, it's sharing your story. It's sharing how we do this. And I think that's important.
I love that. That's great.
Stay consistent with your marketing, digital marketing. Post regularly on social media. Optimize your website for SEO. If you need help doing that, AI can help you now. AI can help you do everything. Jamie's a master of AI, so you could Slack or email Jamie and go, which AI are you using? He'll be glad to tell you which one he's using now. Host open houses, distribute flyers, send postcards to introduce yourself to local homeowners. You can farm a whole neighborhood. I don't know if you guys saw the Remind sale. Did y'all see what happened? So 2021, Remind was sold to a group of investors for $50 million. It was just sold last week for $1.5 million. They lost $48 million.
Oh, million.
They lost $48.5 million on Remind when they resold it because people quit using it. So now they're going to rebrand it and hopefully going to be pulling it back out. It's a platform that had great information. Remind was a farming genius. You could pick out all the neighborhoods, all the houses in a neighborhood, and have a spreadsheet of everybody's name and address in just a matter of seconds. But they wanted to charge for it, and people would use it. You remember Remind?
I remember it. My lender was using it a lot,
Mhm.
and she's like, "Yeah, they use this." I'm like,
Too much.
overwhelmed.
Client testimonials, platforms like Zillow, Google, My Business. Google is huge as far as getting a Google review. That's, I think, more important than even on Zillow at this point. Invest in personal growth, continuing education, mentorship and training. Buffini's 100 Days to Greatness, certified full service professional. Any of the training programs, the one you did, Ninja Selling. There's so many programs that you can go and take, certifications you can do, but it's always about growing yourself,
I
learning
want to
something
just
new.
back up a second too. When you were talking about just now about your testimonials and your reviews, your
Mhm.
Google reviews,
Yes, ma'am.
we as a brokerage need to review each other.
We've
Everybody.
been working on that.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I do it with another networking group of about 20 agents. But I need to be on purpose about supporting people in my brokerage and really turning that
We
Back for
did,
each
we,
other.
we started to do that about a month ago,
Mhm.
and some people did it, and I don't think it caught fire, but we need to get back on
I
that.
know Clarissa and I did it for each other, so.
Yeah, send
They're
your,
doing a great
send your
job
Google
on that.
business
I
thing
know
on
she's
Slack.
Yeah.
I'll write you a review.
doing a good job.
Yeah, that's good.
Keep that.
Yeah, you can send the link on, I want to put it on the guys' channel though.
Yeah.
Well, we could, just maybe under one heading, and everybody will stay in thread, so it doesn't,
Oh,
Log
I'm so
up.
sorry.
Yeah, if you throw me your link, I'll write your review.
Okay, well, how about we do that under the, the brokerage announcements channel? After I do the review for today and give you all the links and everything for today, I'll ask another question of, hey, everybody put your Google business profile
Yeah.
here
Mhm.
in thread.
And we can just
And
click
then I'll
that.
say, Jana, in thread.
Be nice.
And put 6 ads.
She's okay.
But
Okay,
then put 6 ads too, because I did one for 6 ads
Okay.
as an employee,
um,
whatever.
yeah, we talked about that. Okay, number 9, Clarissa Bush is raising a hand. Go ahead.
We just have to be careful if we're all doing that. We might want to like only do 5 each a week if we're, if 20 of us put our Google business pages on there and we do all 20 at one time, Google will flag it. So we just have to be mindful and only do like 5 a week, I think is probably good.
Okay. That sounds good. Thank you for that suggestion.
I just did a training on that.
Yeah. Okay, so master time management's the next thing. Prioritize your tasks. Focus on high impact activities like prospecting client meetings. Use the 80-20 rule to identify which tasks yield the greatest results. If you're not sure about the 80-20 rule, it's 80% of the agents do 20% of the agents do 80% of the work. Everything in life comes down to an 80-20 split, close to that. Where 80%, if you'll spend 20% of your time doing the biggest bulk of your day, 80% of the tasks, then you'll be happier. That's it's called the Pareto principle. Use a planner. Use your Google Calendar. I'm real big on Google Calendar because that way it goes with me on whatever device I'm on. Set boundaries. Protect your personal time, creating clear separation between work and home life. Communicate your working hours to clients and stick to them. Manage your time wisely. You can achieve healthy work-life balance while meeting your professional goals. 10, celebrate small wins. Your first year in real estate will have its ups and downs. Take time to celebrate achievements, no matter how small. Each milestone, from securing your first listing to closing your first deal, is a step toward your long-term success. So if you're a newer agent and you get a listing or you get a buyer and you've got them not showing houses, you get a contract, share it on Slack, put it on the guys channel. Hey, I got my first buyer in contract. We'll celebrate with you, promise. Very much so. Acknowledge your progress, reward yourself, and share your wins. Post on social media about your accomplishments without bragging. You can not be a bragger and still be okay to share, hey, I was able to help these people, and then tell the story. These people had, credit issues, or they had to move quickly. We had to find them a house. People coming from Florida, people from California. Tell a story. People want to know stories, and then put a reel on Slack and share it with Jamie, and Jamie will do something with it. I don't know what I'll do. Get off my lawn. That's it. That's the meeting for today. I hope that you got some really good stuff out of this. I'll put all my slides from today in Slack on the little link along with the YouTube video. Thank you all for coming today. Thank you for joining us online. I see a bunch of people there. Ryan, thank you for driving and watching at the same time. Appreciate it. Hope you were paying attention to the road and not me. Clarissa, Jennifer, Kaya, everybody else that's online. I see Rachel and I see Kristen. Can't tell who else is there. I think we had a guest today too. I meant to say hi, and I honestly just forgot. Clarissa invited some people. Let's see. Ashley and Ashley, thank you guys. There's Jamie. Hi, Jamie. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us today. Sorry, I got the wrong email address for last week, but that was Clarissa's fault, not mine.
Don't throw me under the bus.
No worries at all.
Hope that you got something out of it today. But feel free to come join us here in person at the office and sometime and sit here and have some breakfast with us.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, and Jennifer and Kaya, let's see who else is on there. Kristen and Rachel and Brian and Ashley. Angela's on there too. Thank you guys very much. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
I just want you to know that a breakfast sandwich is my favorite.
Is it?
Yeah. So whoever, like, they just nailed it with that. And I'm like, so trying to watch my calories.
I just like the bread off. I just,
But have
I
you
just,